Praise the Lord, saints, ain'ts, and Tasha Skanks. This is your missionary. What is his hair doing? She's doing something. Kay, Rambling Kay. Here to give you Greenleaf. This is episode, season, 3, episode 1 and 2. I got on my good Christian church hat and this lovely dress barn ensemble. Just giving you a little, missionary. Just a little something. So we're going to do episode 1 and 2 in this episode. In this review. So just sit there and rock with me. I'm a little out of practice because, girl, I ain't done scripted in a while. I know I do Insecure. I didn't do this past week's, but we gonna get there. But it just isn't quite the same as far as scripted. Y'all don't care. Anyway, so Zora's gone. Zora's missing, last season. Child, hold on. We just gonna flip this right on up. Last season. This just looks artificial. I look like what's-her-face mama on Love and Hip Hop. I had it braided back, so she's going through some things. Anyway, last season, Isaiah, Zora's boyfriend, hit her. Jacob hit him, and then they ran off together. So she's gone. Everybody's freaking out. I don't know what kind of family the Greenleaf family is, because when we have a situation, we all get to the same location. We all sit in the same house and be worried together. But they in their own individual homes worrying. And I'm just like, I don't know. But in the meantime, we have Bishop waking up, and he reaches his hand out to where somebody's face probably would have been on a pillow, but okay, he outstretches his hand, and there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. So he shook, he wakes up, and Rochelle's hand is on his bare shoulder, and I'm just like, inappropriate. Or in the words of Nene Leakes, inappropriate. It's inappropriate. I get your hand off the bishop's bare shoulder. No. He opens his eyes, looks up, sees Rochelle, and smiles. Rochelle. And I'm just like, I don't see it for this. They have a conversation. I couldn't really pick up on what they were saying because they were touching each other. They were real close in each other's eyes, and hands on shoulders, and all of this carrying on. And I'm just like, He said something about being married a couple times, and over at the Greenleaf estate, you have Sophia sitting at the table with her grandmother, and I guess they're discussing Zora. I don't really remember, girl. That was last night. And Grace comes in, and somehow Lady May makes this about Grace. Like Zora ran away because of Grace. Donald Trump is president because of Grace. Hurricanes, earthquakes, and all the terrible things in the world are because of Grace. I'm just saying, like, why? At what point will you stop blaming everything on Grace? It's aggravating. Anyway, they find Zora. They found her at a Roach Motel, 10 miles from the state line, the city line, what do you call it? Yeah, the state line. And most of Memphis is 10 miles at least from the city line, the state lines. Memphis is literally just inside of Tennessee. It's the first thing you see when you get to Tennessee. It's Memphis, when you're coming up from the south. So I just was lost right there. But anyway, they're mad. They send her to her room. Well, Jacob does a pat down, sends her to her room. She's mad. She slams the doors. I don't know that life because I didn't have a door until I was 17 years old. Literally did not have a door. I had a curtain. So I don't know anything about it. No reference. Which is why I keep this door shut at all times. Because I grew up without a door. Now, all doors are closed. But anywho, Carissa was being nice. And it was weird to me. Because, Carissa, she's the disciplinarian. She's mean most of the time. She was really coming off as, like, this mean black woman with the bald head that was giving you, fever. And I didn't like the way her character was written, but I did not see it for her just all of a sudden being nice. She goes in there with Zora crying, talking about, I was scared because I messed everything up. And Carissa's holding her and consoling her. And I'm just like, first of all, Zora lying. She lying. She making up illusions. I'm trying to make you feel bad and trying to make her punishment be a little less severe. Second of all, since when is Carissa the whole your daughter type of mother? It just, it was suspicious to me. Over at the office, we see the, I was going to say the housekeeper, secretary, Corinne. She's sitting behind the desk, as she does. giving Rochelle fever because Rochelle's about to just walk up in the office. And she stopped. She's like, "Excuse me, do you want to see the bishop? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "Oh yes, I'd love to see the bishop. Is he busy?" Corinne says, "Probably," and calls and says, "Bishop, Rochelle is out here, wants to speak to you." He's, "Oh yes, send her right in." And I'm like, I don't trust it. And then Rochelle grabs some stuff, some mail off of Corinne's desk, and is finna take it in there. And Corinne was like, "No, it's not for you to do, sis." And then she goes in there, and honey, I zone out whenever I see Rochelle and Bishop in the same room, girl. It's just, I don't need that in my life. So I don't remember what they were talking about, but they talked. Who was Brittany? I don't remember who Brittany is, but I wrote that she's raggedy. So maybe she'll come back to me, maybe she won't. Kevin's on the phone with Charity. He's ready to go to court for his child. I have very complicated feelings about the Kevin and Charity situation. Y'all know from seasons 1 and 2, I let Charity slide with a lot. I let her slide with a lot because she's pretty. I always let the pretty people slide. That is one of my faults. And it's something that I know and acknowledge, and one day I'll be delivered from that. But I let her slide because she's pretty, but Charity is everybody's least favorite. And I am aware of that. So I will be addressing Charity probably as, not as harshly as some of you may like me to do it. And I'm sorry about that, but I let her slide on a lot. I can halfway see where Charity is coming from in this situation. Halfway. I do think that Kevin needs to see his child. I also am very aware that Kevin decided to not be a father at the very beginning of this baby's life. So, I see where she may be a little leery because, you stepped out, you decided you didn't want to do this anymore, and then here you are trying to come back in. But also, I see where it's, I kind of feel like it's, I don't want my son around you because you gay. I feel a little bit like that's a part of it. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that because Charity, sweetness, you have a type and your type is gay. We haven't forgotten how zesty Jabari was when we met him. We haven't forgotten how you were BFFs with Kyle Barker's husband, Pastor Ricky Dillard. We haven't forgotten. I haven't. I don't know if you, the viewing audience, has forgotten, but I haven't. Anyway, girl, so moving on, Bishop goes over to Lady May's office. She, is giving him all this fever, and I'm just saying, like, girl, you had an affair too. The whole episode I was watching, like, yes, you're big mad, but you slept with that other man. So, but he goes into her office, lets her know that there's a problem with the IRS. She asks him, "How could you let this happen, James?" And he's like, "It was your brother. Your brother was supposed to be handling all of these things. He didn't. Not my fault." But what I don't understand is, why did Lady May have so much faith in her brother? That's what doesn't make sense to me. You know your brother better than anybody. Most people, I should say. So why is it that she had so much faith in him handling their business, being around their children? It don't make sense. We need to have Iyanla. Iyanla's coming. I thought she was going to be on this episode because I thought I read she was going to be on the opening of the season. But we need her quick, fast, and in a hurry to have Lady May put her belly to the earth. Because this won't get fixed until we put some bellies to the earth, until we pour some mud in a bowl, until we hold some eggs and some baby dolls and talk to a dead relative. It will not be fixed. We have to talk to to Mac and to Father, to the daddy, because something's going on. Anyway, so they decide they're gonna put up a front until the IRS situation is fixed, basically. And I'm just saying, like, even from death, Mac is wreaking havoc. He did what he came to do. Thy will be done. Let me see. So while all of this is going on, Jacob gets a phone call. He gets a phone call from his father. His father is giving, "Your mother has put me out of the house." And I'm just like, why are you calling Jacob with this? Don't nobody ever talk to Jacob about these things. While he's on the line, the phone rings, and it is Lady May. And Jacob's saying, well, Dad told me you put him at the house. And she's giving, well, did he tell you why? Of course he didn't. And then while that's going on, the phone rings and it's Grace. And Grace is giving, we need to have a sit down, a talk, a discussion. Things are going on. And it just, I was like, this is really weird because nobody ever brings Jacob or Charity in on these instances. And all of a sudden, everybody calling Jacob at once. It was kind of weird to me. And then while that was happening, Carissa is giving, so what's going on while this man is on the phone? Can he get the details and then let you know? You got to know right now? Rude. Very rude. Anyway, so they have a sibling meeting. And Jacob and Charity. I'm sorry. It's Charity, Faith, and Grace. And I just be trying to figure out which fruit of the spirit we talking to. But yeah, Jacob and Charity ask Grace what's going on. Grace sits there and says, I don't know. Grace, your brother and sister are stupid. They both are stupid. Both. But they're not that stupid. They're not. She finally lets them know that father had an affair with auntie. And Charity says, that happened before they got married. Even I know that. And she says, no, this happened after they got married. Charity says, an ongoing affair? Yes, Charity, an ongoing affair, sis. And then 30-plus-year-old Charity opens her mouth and says, I'm going to come from a broken home. Grown, married, divorced, and fornicating, and had a child, Charity. So she's going to come from a broken home. Grown, married, had a baby, divorced, fornicating, Charity, whose mother at some point was sleeping with her grandfather or something similar, whose sister killed herself because her uncle was doing sexual things to her, and whose other sister was gone for 20 years, says that she's going to come from a broken home. Charity, sweetness, your home has never been whole. I don't know if you knew. Obviously you didn't. This is why you need me to come and sit with you. This is why. So I can just gently let you know, girl, your life is dysfunctional. It's been dysfunctional. You are attracted to homosexual men. We need to get to the root of that. What's going on? Is it a safety issue? Do you not feel safe with straight men? Did your uncle do something to you? I'd like to just really get into the mind of Charity. I would like to. Moving along. Moving smooth past it. Well, no, not moving along. Moving forward at this sibling meeting. Charity then takes after her mother and tells Grace that this is her fault. Because, and this is something that everybody, except for a bishop, has said to Grace. It's your fault, Grace, because if you hadn't come back, these things wouldn't be going on. Instead of saying, it's someone else's fault, it's Mac's fault, because if Mac hadn't sexually assaulted his niece, Faith, who killed herself, who prompted Grace to come home, these things wouldn't have happened. Let's be realistic, because I'm tired of, Grace, if you had never come home, then this wouldn't go on. Because if Grace leaves, then it'll be, Grace, you left us again. I'm tired of the Grace rhetoric. I'm tired of the everybody going off on Grace, everybody blaming everything on Grace situation. I'm tired of that. I want it over and done. I want at least by season 4 for us to be through with that. Because they say it nearly every episode. Greenleaf writers, it's tired. Lay it down, in the words of Lil Wayne. So we getting up for church, honey, which is, I got my hat on. We on our way to service. And the shadow over my eyes. It's a look though, it's high fashion. But anyway, we getting up for church. Grace is like, come on, why you ain't dressed? What's going on? We finna head after service. Come on, Queen Latifah, UNITY. Y'all remember when she had that hat pointed up? Anyway, come on, what else to say? Girl, why you not dressed? Lady May says that she is not going to service. She couldn't possibly see James up there preaching like everything is all right. And she knows the truth. It's just, she can't do it. And she says she wonders what people do on Sundays when they're not in church. It's just been so long. And it's like, Lady May, what you do on Saturday? All the stuff you do on Saturday, just do it on Sunday. I know in the 40 some odd years y'all been together, you've had 1 or 2 Saturdays off. I know that First Lady's work is never done, but you've had a Saturday where you just lay in and rest. Do that. Anyway, girl, Grace scoots on down to service, and Deaconess, what's her face, honey, with the gray wig, she asks, well, where's May? What's going on? Grace lies, outright lies. Let me tell you, for those of you who weren't raised in the church like I, when you don't want to tell somebody the full truth at the church, you tell them a piece of the truth. You don't tell them a lie. You tell them a piece of the truth. Where's Lady May today? Oh, well, she's not feeling her best. She thought it was best she stay home. Or she's not feeling her best. You know, she didn't want to come in today, not feeling so great. But this outright lie Grace told. And then Bishop got up and told another completely different outright lie. Oh, I'm so sorry my wife couldn't be here today with us. She's in Little Rock handling, you know, some family matters. So not only is Grace lying in the sanctuary on the front row, Bishop's lying in the pulpit. I won't stand for it. I won't stand for it. Moving on. Zora, over at her church. Let me get back to Lady May. She going out around town, honey. She done showed up at a breakfast diner. She having quiche or something, honey. I don't know. She done went out to the lake. And it's, I guess, supposedly the lake that her daughter killed herself in. But I thought that lake was on their property, so I was confused. But we out here looking in the lake. And we don't never talk about faith. Never. We got a few little snippets of faith when Sophia was learning about her. But we don't ever talk about faith. We don't know how faith relates to the family. You know, you have Grace, who is Bishop's favorite, Lady May's least favorite. You have Jacob, who is Lady May's favorite, Bishop's least favorite. Then you have Charity, who just exists. Where did Faith fit in? Where'd she fit in all that? I'm interested to know. Somebody call me Mike and let me know. Anyway, Lady May, you see her walking into service, and I'm like, oh, she finally, you know, she made it on into church. They're going to have to make up a lie about her being back from Little Rock. But it turns out it was Jacob's church. She's peeking in the back door. He's up speaking. And I'm just like, why don't you just step in and sit on the back row? Now, I've peeked in many a service, and I just step in and sit right on that back row. And I'm going to watch. Praise God. Hey, glory. You better preach. And then I tiptoe right on out the back door. I've done it plenty of times. I do it all the time. I'm just swinging in. I know it's church night. I'm not dressed for church or whatever. Let me just sit on this back row. Glory. Amen. And then I leave. But she got the door open. She peeking, trying to see what Jacob in there doing. And then you hear Tasha. Lady May. Ugh. The ghetto. It's the ghetto. Brittany, I just remember Brittany is the money girl. And she was talking to Jacob all kind of crazy. Anyway, back to Tasha. Tasha offers Lady May some tea and some Keebler cookies. And tells her about this first lady whose husband was cheating on her or something. And she came home and somehow she done fell off a balcony. And something about her eye. her eye was like this. Look at the eye. Look at it. And I'm just like, Tasha, cut it out. And Lady May was visibly shook. And I'm just sitting here like, all this carrying on you've done for 40-something years. You've been putting on, or longer than that, because your daddy, you've been putting on this mask and this facade for all these years, and you can't pretend not to be shook in public. It was on my nerves. She was walking around just all distraught. Girl, pull it together. But anyway, she hands Tasha back the tea, and she goes on out the door. And Tasha's like, you don't want to tell Jacob, hi? She's like, no, I have to go. And she rushes out the door, and Tasha's smirking. And I'm just like, do people smirk like that in real life? Now, I have been nefarious, and I've been messy, and I've done things to mess with people. And I've had people, rush away from me because I've been shady towards them, and they just must go immediately. But I don't smirk after. I just be like, bye, sis. And that's that. This smirking, this carrying on that Rochelle and Tasha keep doing every time the camera pans on them, it's worrisome. It's worrisome. Anyway, they taking up offering, and Jacob is praying over the offering. Every penny is going to you, Lord. Then the camera pans over to Zora. She looks and takes a $50 bill, puts it in her pocket. First of all, I've been going to church 24 years. I know for a fact, every time somebody praying, somebody got their eyes open. Most things people look at when their eyes open during the prayers, the person praying, and the offering baskets. It's just your eyes are drawn to them. You just open your eye. Wonder what they're doing in the basket. Did they get new offering baskets? The last ones was burgundy, but these are gold. Okay, word. Amen. I've been in church too long for this to go unnoticed. So she done pocketed this money, and apparently nobody saw her, or maybe somebody saw her and it's going to come back up later. But it was worrisome. Anyway, so after service, Jacob and Carissa are sitting in Jacob's office. Zora is nowhere to be found, and the baby brother is also nowhere to be found. They just never had that boy. He was at the beginning of the episode, but that's it. But if Zora's on lockdown, she's going to be sitting in this office with me. That's just that on that. But she's not in the office. And Brittany comes in, and she's giving, well, the money. We still don't have enough money. And money, and all the carrying on. But she's giving it in a very rude manner. And that's the thing that gets on my nerves. Like, Brittany, I would be able to receive from you if you weren't giving it so harshly and so rude. But Tasha, I forgot to mention, has already planted her little seed of dissension by saying, she never talked to Basie like that. I'd fire her if I were you. And I'm just like, ugh. First of all, shut up. Shut up. This southern carrying on. I want her to go to speech therapy so bad. I want her to just start talking normally, regularly on the episode and say, do you like my voice? I've gone to speech therapy. I don't have to give you a twang any longer. Like, because this carrying on she's doing all the time, it's really worrisome. It's worrisome. I won't be able to do it. Secondly, I cannot look at this woman without knowing that that's the heifer that's cheating with T.I. I just can't. And listen, I didn't feel that way about Bernice Burgos. I haven't felt that way about the multitude of women that I've seen T.I. not sleeping, Lord, because I ain't in nobody's marital bed. But I've seen him around town with plenty of girls. Plenty. And I haven't felt this strongly about it. But I cannot look at her character, even though I know her character is nefarious. I can't look at her character and just not see the woman that's, doing her carryings on T.I. And so that's bothering me. The twang is bothering me. That's bothering me. And just this whole, we gonna take down Bishop Greenleaf and his children and his family plot. It's just like, girl, Basie's not even here. Why are y'all still continuing this foolishness? And it wasn't your daddy, Tasha, that got killed. I know she in it to take down Lady Mae because Lady Mae was rude to her. But, girl, find something else to do. Anyway, back over at service. Kevin is in church. Charity up there singing, just, woo, singing for Jesus. Doo-doo. All that carrying on. She looks out at the audience and sees Kevin. Now she's giving fever. She gave a little piece of fever to her daddy because she mad at the daddy for cheating on the mama with the auntie. So she just walks off with all this attitude. And I'm just like, oh, girl, nobody cares. And then after service, she walks over to Kevin. What are you doing here, Kevin? Well, it's my church. This is my son's church. Thought I'd swing in a Sunday morning. Praise God. She's giving attitude. They're going back and forth. And he tells her to leave the baby with him. She says no. He says yes. And he says you ain't going to take the baby with you on tour, because if you take the baby across state lines, that's kidnapping. That's a lie. You cannot kidnap your own child when you have custody of them. I want that lie not to be spread like that. I want that not to be something that we've made into a plot point in Charity and Kevin's relationship. That's a lie. It's a lie. If you have custody of your child, you may take them across state lines, especially if you're not moving. But even if you do move, if you have custody of your child, you may do so. Even if y'all have joint custody. If you still have a piece of custody, you are certainly welcome to take your child across state lines for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And I need these lies not to be spread any longer. Greenleaf writing staff, don't do that. Don't do that no more. As a child from a broken home, I ain't never had a whole home. I know the law. Thanks. Thanks so much. Then we see Charity kissing Barry in the mouth. And I'm like, do you know where his mouth has been, girl? Same place as yours have been. And they talking about how she can't go on tour because she got to get the baby, and he talking about, well, you signed a contract, and she talking about, this is my child, and girl, carrying on. I don't care about either part of it. I mean, she did sign a contract, so legally, you would probably more have to go on the tour, but she can't hire one of her siblings to watch the baby. Grace loved watching the baby that one time she did. Watch the baby, have Grace and Sophia, pay them a little piece of a stipend, and have them watch the baby. You ain't got no friends. Just, get her. I'll come watch Nathan. Shoot. I'm just carrying on. Tasha and Rochelle are in Tasha's office, steady plotting. She picking out lingerie and carrying on. I didn't care. And then you have Lady Mae telling James Bishop he can come home. And that's only until they get the IRS situation figured out, and then, that's a wrap. I'm actually going to cut it off right here. I thought I was going to get through that episode a lot faster, but I didn't. So I'm going to come back at you with episode 2. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all the things the YouTubers say, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.